Okay, and our last essay is Emma Strickland from Mrs. Chapman's class at Loyalsock High School. Emma here. And I'll just note, Emma is a prior winner. I think we have at least 3 times, including 1 overall winner, of which this is again the overall winning essay. So, looking forward to hearing it.
On a brutally hot summer day in Philadelphia, a group of men concurred on a document that would provide a framework of government for years to come. With their signatures at the bottom of the page, our Constitution was put into effect in 1787. When the framers created this document, they were aware that it was not perfect in any regard. Much of this imperfection lay with the founders themselves, written only by men, some of whom owned human beings, and most believed that women should have no role in public affairs. They only understood our nation to be as a small country along the eastern seaboard with no modern manufacturing or communication. Benjamin Franklin stated, "When you assemble a number of men to have the advantage of their joint session, you inevitably assemble with those men all their prejudices, their passions, their errors of opinions, their local interests, and their selfish views. From such an assembly can a perfect production be expected?" Many see this acknowledgement of imperfection as the most important part of this foundational document. In the framers' wisdom, they provided for the ability to change a document of such importance that it would allow it to adapt to new problems that arose. This forethought, hundreds of years ago, was revolutionary and has allowed our nation to grow and prosper. But while the idea of being able to amend the Constitution had the right intentions, in practice it was not very plausible. Article 5 provides for amendments through either a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress and ratification of 3/4 of the states, or a national constitutional convention called by 2/3 of the state legislatures. These are extremely difficult to accomplish and time-consuming to manage. Chris Edelson, American University professor, in an article for the American Constitution Society stated, "Our inability to mitigate major problems in our country is fundamentally the result of one central problem, a failed constitutional system that has left the United States unable to respond to these national challenges." Even when one looks at current ideas for constitutional amendments, they don't seem to help solve the most critical issues our nation faces. Some are proposed to address issues we assume are already granted, like an amendment to guarantee everyone the right to vote, or finally passing the Equal Rights Amendment. Many ideas for amendments only alter previous amendments, such as repealing the 17th Amendment, the Electoral College, or ending income tax by repealing the 16th, or removing unreasonable to describe illegal searches in the 4th Amendment. Some look to address our national problems by managing how long our government officials can serve, such as removing presidential term limits or adding term limits for Congress, or doing away with lifetime appointments for Supreme Court justices. Only a few directly address issues we currently see in practice, such as requiring a balanced budget or regulating campaign finance. There are those that hold the view that the Constitution should be scrapped and that we should start from fresh, and they make compelling arguments. An article in Smithsonian Magazine summarized a book by Georgetown law professor Louis Michael Seidman, which proposed that adherence to the Constitution is both misguided and long out of date. Edelson argues that in its original form, the Constitution did not fully provide for what is now called a liberal democracy, a system with free and fair elections, individual rights, limits on the power of the majority as well as government officials, and the rule of law. He believes our Constitution's failure to do what we reasonably expect it to do helps explain our inability to address some of the most significant issues we face in our society: economic distress, cyber attacks against the government and industry, racial injustice, a climate crisis, etc. After reading several articles about these issues and analyzing the arguments, I've come to the conclusion that the Constitution is not the problem, and 1 or 2 amendments won't make it significantly better. The Constitution is simply a document, a tool for people to use or abuse. The problem I see is with the government officials that we have put in place to lead our country. No amount of amendments will force them to work for the betterment of our nation. In my opinion, we should be electing officials who will approach their work the same way our imperfect forefathers did. Work together, even in the most difficult of circumstances, and make compromises for the betterment of our country. And in all its imperfections, this is exactly what our Constitution provides for. I close with another quote from Benjamin Franklin, which was made after completion of the Constitution. I agree to this Constitution with all its faults, if they are such, because I think a central government is necessary for us. I doubt, too, whether any other convention we can obtain may be able to make a better Constitution. Thank you.